What is the point of building an empire valued today at over $11 billion if at the end of the day you sit down to dinner and the chair across from you is empty? We all know the symbol of the Miura bull. We all associate the word Lamborghini with ultimate luxury, power, and financial success. But what business magazines don't tell you is the bloody price its creator had to pay to reach the top. This isn't just the story of a man who built tractors and ended up humiliating Enzo Ferrari. This is a masterclass on market vision, on how to capitalize on rejection, and on the most terrifying question every entrepreneur must ask themselves: what is the limit of sacrifice for your ambitions? Stay until the end, because today we are going to dissect the mind of Ferruccio Lamborghini, and I guarantee it will change the way you view success and money forever. If you are ready to build your own legacy, subscribe, leave a like, and let's get started. We go back to April 28, 1916, in Italy. Ferruccio is born into a farming family, without resources but with an unbreakable work ethic. While his parents worked the land, little Ferruccio got his hands dirty repairing the old tractors in the vineyard. That's where the first unwritten rule of money is born. Wealth often hides in solving the problems right in front of you every single day. His passion for mechanics leads him to study, but the world had other plans. World War II breaks out. Ferruccio, at 23, is drafted by the Italian Air Force as a mechanic. After Italy's surrender, he is taken prisoner. But pay attention to this. Instead of surrendering to his reality as a prisoner of war, he uses his skills. He repairs machines for the Allied forces until he secures his release. He returns home. He meets Clelia, the love of his life, and decides it's time to go all in. He confesses a plan to his father that sounded like madness. "I'm not going to farm. I'm going to build tractors that are much more powerful and cheaper than the competition." His father, terrified by the post-war economy, tells him he will fail. But Ferruccio had something most people don't: macroeconomic reading skills. He knew Italy would need to rebuild, and to rebuild, it would need machinery. So, quick financial lesson here. The best time to start a business is not when the economy is at its peak, but when there is a critical need for rebuilding. You gotta find the demand before the market even realizes it exists. So, to finance his dream, Ferruccio and his friend Matteo, they modify an old car and enter a local race in the legendary Terra dei Motori, but, they lose miserably. It's his first major failure. Feeling discouraged, he gets news that, honestly, changes everything. Clelia, his wife, is pregnant. This sparks an uncontrollable fire inside him. He goes to his father and asks for a loan. And, in an act of blind faith, his father hands him the mortgage deed to the family farm. Ferruccio risks his family's roof to create the Carioca model tractor. It's a financial masterpiece, really. It used a vaporizer Ferruccio invented himself. Started with gasoline, which was expensive, but then ran on petroleum, which was cheap. Double the power, half the expense, lower production cost. But obsession comes at a steep price. While Ferruccio spent entire nights perfecting the orange paint on his tractor, getting it just right to show investors, he ignored the pleas of his wife, who was about to give birth. The day his tractor is ready, Ferruccio arrives home only to find a trail of blood. He rushes to the hospital, but it's too late. Clelia gave birth to his son, but lost her life in the process. The man who was about to dominate the industry had just lost his entire world for being late. Let me pause here. Entrepreneur, leader, dreamer. What part of your life are you neglecting today because you're busy painting your tractor? Financial success should never cost the lives of those you love. Let me know in the comments if you've ever felt like work is stealing your personal life. I'll be reading. Heartbroken, Ferruccio buries himself in his work. His tractors are a massive success. From building one a week, he goes to 200 a month. He becomes a multimillionaire. He expands his empire to air conditioners and heaters. And like any multimillionaire, he develops an expensive taste in sports cars. Ferruccio collected Ferraris, but he noticed a problem. The clutch on his luxurious Ferrari 250 GT constantly broke. Upon inspecting it with his mechanics, he discovers an outrageous truth. Ferrari used the exact same commercial clutches Ferruccio used in his agricultural tractors, but charged top dollar for them. Seeing an opportunity for improvement, Ferruccio drives to the Ferrari offices and asks to speak with Enzo Ferrari himself to propose a partnership. Enzo's response went down in history as the worst PR mistake in the automotive world. A tractor manufacturer isn't going to teach me how to make sports cars. That contempt awakened the beast. Ferruccio didn't get angry. He became obsessed with excellence. He invested his capital in creating his own car factory in the same region as Ferrari. He hired the best engineers, demanded the engine use aluminum to be lighter, and insisted the design be perfect. And at the 1964 Geneva Motor Show, the world held its breath. The Lamborghini 350 GT appeared, a technical and visual jewel that completely eclipsed Ferrari. When journalists asked him why he did it, Ferruccio dropped one of the hardest lines in the business world. You buy a Ferrari when you want to be somebody. You buy a Lamborghini when you already are somebody. By the 1970s, Lamborghini was the undisputed king. But in business, the market always has the final word. Then the 1973 oil crisis hits. Inflation skyrockets, unemployment suffocates Europe, and suddenly, fuel becomes an unaffordable luxury. Even the most brilliant minds fall to macroeconomics. Unable to sustain the company, Ferruccio is forced to sell it. Sometime later, he has dinner with his son Tonino. Tonino now has his own family and a fulfilling life. An aging Ferruccio talks to him about the sale of the company and his honorary title of Cavaliere del Lavoro. Tonino looks at him, remembering his absent childhood, his mother's death, the secretaries and wives who passed through Ferruccio's life, and asks him the question that destroys any ego. Was it worth it, Dad? Ferruccio remains silent. His son gets up and leaves. The great Ferruccio Lamborghini ended his days exactly where he started, in the countryside, surrounded by vineyards. Maybe, searching in the dirt for the peace that engines never gave him. He passed away in 1993, leaving behind a company that today dominates the world under the control of Volkswagen. Ferruccio's story teaches us to be relentless, to see opportunities where others see crisis, and to use rejection as the best fuel in the world. But it also leaves us with the cruelest lesson. Money only multiplies what you already are. If you are empty, no billion-dollar empire will fill that void. Now it's your turn to answer Tonino's question. What you are building today, the way you invest your time, and the price you are paying, will it be worth it in the end? If this story made you rethink your goals, share it with that friend or partner who needs to hear it today. Subscribe to the channel for more dissections of the most brilliant financial minds in history, and leave me your answer in the comments. See you at the top, but make sure you don't arrive alone.